Hey guys, welcome back to part two this of my thoughts slash favorite episodes of Arrow season three. Of Arrow season three. Two? Okay. We got 8 episodes left, I believe. Yeah, I'm almost done here. Okay, and then the next episode is called The Offer. The Offer. Okay? Yeah. Oliver is brought to his knees by Ray Shogul, but he begs him to spare John Joe's life. Ray compliments him before informing him he has no intention of killing him, but no asking him to take his place. Meanwhile, Nasa refuses to believe that Thea killed Sarah. A frustrated Thea explains how she killed Sarah by being drugged. She said that the murder will be avenged by the death of Malcolm. That she does blame Malcolm. Yeah. On the death of her beloved Sarah. This knocks them both down, but doesn't survive a duel with them. Yeah, sorry. Never mind. I'm just reading something. Yeah. Laura and Rory come in, they attack, but Nissa gets shot with a dart. Gets knocked out. Ray shows Oliver his league training and shows him the history behind the league. He shows him how he survived so long in the pool, even cutting himself in the hand, touching that ledge pit. It heals his hand. It heals injuries. It expands a person's lifespan too. It's called the Lazarus Pit, like in the Bible. You know, when Jesus brought Lazarus back to life, they call it the Lazarus Pit. Oliver brings Malcolm back to his loft to be healed, which angers Theo. Back at the Hook Club, Dave begins to question why Rex truly released Oliver. The team are immediately annoyed that he freed Malcolm. Oliver then lets Nessa go while questions why he was released. Nessa leaves Oliver and insists that he and Roy and Laura go out in the field. This crew kills two security guards before they try and steals crates of diamonds, revealing that the lead of the crew has a simple limb together. His lip is shoved together, which is pretty creepy. Arrow arson Black Canary. They engage in this fight. Laura saves Ray from being shot right after Laura saves Laura from being run over. The next day, though, Felicity and Ray are working on his suit while flirting. Oliver walks in and asks to speak to Felicity. She's able to identify the thief as Michael Emmer, aka Murmur, whatever they call him. Man with the mouth shut. Back at the barrel cave, that Roy tells Oliver the diamonds that he stole were useless to Roy. Were useless, so Roy leaves to find out what he wants with them. Oliver then, wants to go about Rachel's offer and begins to question himself. You know, Nessa returns to her father to ask him why. She's disgusted that he asks Oliver to be his heir and leaves because Nissa wanted to be his heir. But of course, since she, was her beloved was Sarah, he didn't approve of it, so he's not going to let her be the new man. You know what I mean? I mean, be take over his place. Roy learns that the diamonds and the bullets they can go through body armor. Laura begs Quentin to forgive her before Marmor attacks the police station. Nissa, Oliver, Roy, and Laura Quentin take out Murr's crew and arrest him before leaving. Thea and Roy end up getting back together. They sleep together. Oliver meets Mesu to decline the offer, but he's like, Oliver, you better do this, or there will be consequences if he refuses. Is that a threat? Yes, it is a threat to your life. Raish, at the end, you have Raish, who is dressed up as Arrow, kills the rest of the crew, and tell everyone about it. He says we're alive. He's on TV and stuff. I hated the fact that Raish was dressed up as Arrow. Really? Why does Raish need to dress up as Arrow? I mean, he could have had Mesu do it in the first place. Mesu does. I like to think the next episode. But why? But why does Raish need to be dressed up as the Arrow? It is a one-time thing, but I didn't like that ending. I'm like, no, you didn't need that. But the whole fact is that he better accept the offer. They do take Mesa, they do take the Mormon guy down, which is pretty creepy. But yeah, race. They're trying to start, turn the city against him, make the city hate him because he's refusing the offer. But I'm like, Ray could have one of his men dressed up. I'm like, he didn't have to do it himself. I'm like, you're Ra's al Ghul, head of the demon. You got plenty of assassins that could have dressed up as Arrow. Plenty of them. But still, good episode though, and interesting. Alright, hold on. Okay, the next episode I think is an okay episode. Yeah, I think I put it on my okay, okay list. Yeah, and that episode is suicidal tendencies. Again, I really never liked the fact that they had the Suicide Squad here. I thought this episode was just okay. It begins with Dig and Lila's wedding day, which is nice though. You see them getting married. Oliver's there. I think Oliver becomes his best man. Ray, John Dig you know, meets Ray and tells him, "I'll kill if you hurt feelings" in his ear. But Ray meets them. Ray's a minister, so he marries Lila and Dig. And it's a nice, sweet marriage. Laura, Felicity, uh, they all look beautiful in their dresses, and they're watching the wedding. They're dancing and having a good time. What the? Yeah. Apparently, Laura, her needs a brace. They talk about who she's training with. She doesn't really tell Oliver the complete truth. Ray mentions that oh sorry. Felicity walks up, mentions him caught the bouquet. No. Felicity, Oliver still somewhat is jealous and wants to be with Felicity, but can't because of being there. He said, "I'm glad you're happy to be with someone like Ray." Later that evening, Oliver's trying to track down who's framing the arrow. He sends Dig and Lilo on their honeymoon. They get in the car and they find out their honeymoon is being interrupted by Waller. He was on a mission. With the Suicide Squad, they see Deadshot. It's like, oh, we're listening to the married couple. Dig goes to Connection. Oliver learns that Ray built a suit and has figured out that Rivera is him because when Oliver finds him as the Arrow, he's able to, like, in his suit, fly around, and if he's, like, in his mask, he's able to identify him as the Arrow. Ray wants to arrest him and have him committed for his crimes. And he gets mad at Felicity, upset with her because she knew that Oliver is Arrow, of course. Floyd remembers the past and Lyle Dig mentioned being married and having a kid. We see past of Floyd Lawton's past. We see Floyd Lawton's past of when he came home from the war. His daughter not recognizing him, and he has PTSD, even being real mean to his daughter. She's like maybe 3 years old. He like yells at his daughter for not eating food. Points a gun at his wife. Ends up in jail, prison for some time for doing that. And his wife, gets a restraining order on him. So he gets a job offer to kill Andy Diggle, and that's when Floyd Lawton becomes Deadshot. And they have to save this politician, but this politician, the senator, wants to be president, so he wants to kidnap these people. He didn't want them to send anybody, but they did it anyway. So he turns on the heroes, turns on Lila and Dig and Deadshot, and Cupid's there from the episode Draw Back Your Bow. See if she can turn over a new leaf. And oh Deadshot, I love you. And I didn't really care for Deadshot's past too much. I know Deadshot has a daughter, but I didn't need to delve into his past. And sadly, they do kill off Deadshot. Yeah, spoiler alert. They do stop the senator. They kill the senator. But he's planning on president. They kill him, and then Desha sacrificed himself. He was like, no. He was like in love with him. She's just obsessed with any guy who saves her or gives her attention, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. The episode ends up with Maisu dressing up as the Arrow. You have the mayor, Quentin, Sarah. Quentin and Sarah arguing about what happened with Sarah. And the mayor's like, shut up, you both, and then Ray ends up jumping to save Felicity. The mayor ends up getting shot and killed by a master dressed up as the Arrow. So now the Arrow is considered a criminal now for, especially for killing the mayor after this. And the episode ends there. I'm like, that ends up on a, wow, that episode ended on a cliffhanger. But again, the whole thing with the Suicide Squad, I didn't care about that side of the story. That was the weak part of it. But again, nice to have that flashback. But the episode I thought was okay. I'm like, I wish they stopped trying to add the Suicide Squad in here because it just really never worked for me. You don't really need the Suicide Squad. This is an Arrow show about Green Arrow. Let it be focused on Green Arrow, okay? Right then, my next episode is another favorite episode. We got the Public Enemy. Yeah, we're getting close to being done, guys. I'm trying to hurry up. Believe me, I really need to. I'm trying. Then I'll give my final thoughts. 11 minutes in. Okay. All right, Public Enemy. That's the next episode. The episode begins with a news report that the mayor has been killed in Palmer in critical condition, and Lance gets a search warrant, arrest warrant for the Arrow. Oliver tells Diggle he knows that Mesa was responsible for the attack, though. Then we cut to a flashback, and Queen and Echo still run for their lives on the street. Him and the kid are running for their lives. They run into Shadow's twin sister, Mia, which was freaking pointless. I didn't get the whole point of that. This was even worse from the flashbacks. I'm like, what? So all of a sudden, Shadow and her father, who was in season one, the man who taught him to shoot arrows, Yinsun, apparently he had another daughter, and the Shadow had a sister. But they didn't mention this. I don't remember them mentioning this. What was the point? But then she finds out who it is. She calls the cops on them, which are not the cops, the bad people who are after them. I just didn't care. I'm like, why do we need Shadow's sister? It's just played by the same actress, but I didn't care about these flashbacks. Laura tries to convince her father to trust that the arrow is being framed, but he wants her to tell him the arrow's identity, and she knows it, and she doesn't know. Roy and Thea, want to run away together, but they spot the newscast. What's going on the TV about Oliver? Felicity sits by Palmer in the hospital. Yeah, apparently since his injury, he's gonna in his blood clot. He wants to put nanobites in it, but doctors can't do it. Her mother, Donna, the annoying woman, gorgeous lover, shows up. She distracts the doctor. He's like, "Well, if you love this man, you save him." She puts the nanobites in his body. He has a seizure, but it works in his brain, saves him. Oliver meets Vanessa and asks her for help. She says she won't betray her father, so Queen brings up Sarah. She gives the location of the building that Lee has been using as staging ground. The Arrow team then go there and they battle with the team led by Meso. Arrow gets the jump on Meso, but does not kill him. He fights him though. Ray shows up and tells Arrow he has two choices: replace him as Ray or spend the rest of his life in prison. Police helicopters arrive. Team Arrow runs away. Manages to escape with Diggle. Roy injures several cops. Nissa helps Laura when she's cornered by her father. Back at the Arrow cave, the Arrow speaks over the phone with the angry Lance. He wants Arrow to turn himself in. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention there was an episode where he does know that the Arrow doesn't tell him. He's like, "You weren't going to tell me about my daughter dying." Yeah. Ray brings Lance to see him. He tells her about Sarah being on the island. He then tells him Oliver Queen. He's like, Oliver Queen is the Arrow. Lance meets with Laura, who thinks Father Jones because Sarah. Lance then thinks there is the reason Sarah was killed. She never ended up in the league if this never happened. Roy tells Thea that when he shot the cops with arrows, part of them, that he might finally get to go to jail with his belongings. Oliver apologizes to Roy. Most of the police break down the doors and Oliver takes off. The doctor shows up. Felicity, Ray, and oh, sorry. I already read about that. In the flashbacks, though. Oh, never mind. Oliver does turn himself in the police station. They say, "We're going to arrest him." He's placed in custody. He talks to Lance. He's like, "What you did to my daughter? She died because of you." And stuff. And, then Oliver says to Quentin, "I love your family." And then Quentin, like, slaps him. They don't deal. They have this talk. He even talks about people who died. He's like, "You, Mr. Queen, you're not here. You're a villain." Roy lands on the. Then all of a sudden, Roy lands on the roof. He tells the officers that they have the wrong man, and he's like, "I'm the arrow." And then the episode is there on the cliffhanger. What a good episode, I thought. Yeah. Despite not liking the whole flashbacks again. Alright, my next favorite episode. I think we have five left. Yeah, five left. The next favorite episode is called Broken Arrow. The episode opens up with a mysterious figure, played by Doug Jones, by the way, uh, who this bank teller, bank security guard tries to stop him. Then he shoots laser beams from his eyes. Well, I forgot to mention, damn, thing in the other episode, uh, Oliver fights, Ray in his Adam suit. He tries to fight with Oliver, but to no avail. Oliver ends up beating him, of course. It was a cool little fight, but not that didn't last that long. But this is when the episode I like because we have Ray trying to be a hero. Doug Jones. If you've seen the Hellboy movies with Ron Perlman, the two animated ones, the live action ones from 2004, 2008, Abe Lincoln, that's the same actor, I believe. Well, he's got like laser beams from his eyes. Roy confesses, he's brought to jail. Well, Lance wants to charge Oliver. Laura shows up to tell him that DA won't be charging him. So Lance is like, but we'll get him eventually. Though he still believes that Oliver is the arrow. And he's right, of course. Palmer asks Felicity about Roy's confession, and just the fact that he told her he loved her. He simply takes it back. Oliver visits Roy in custody. Roy says he's doing this as a way to make it right for killing the cop, as well as paying Oliver for saving his life. So he saves his life back in return. He's like, because the city needs the arrow. We do get a few flashbacks with the Hong Kong. So, yeah. Oliver meets with Malcolm, who tells him the days of the arrows are finished. He suggests that it might be better to be suited to stop Sprague from pursuing him by sending us over to lead the assassins. Surveillance footage from the metahuman gets surfaced. Lance and his team show up at the Arrow HQ, so the search warrant break down the door. But Roy's fingerprints are the one they find. Felicity and Dick will tell Oliver they whipped all of evidence. Roy had already convinced and they wanted to keep the Arrow active. They wanted to ask Barry for help, but Barry can't do it because he's dealing with Dr. Wells in Central City. So they go to Palmer for dealing with the metahuman. Oliver tries to go to Waller, but you find out she's been held hostage by General Shreve, who plans to use the Alpha Omega virus in Hong Kong. She said that he created the vaccine, introduced himself, then advised him to go to Hong Kong as quickly as possible to stop him. It's this Omega bioweapon that can kill a lot of people. Leave it prison. He didn't want to see her. She asked him what's happening. He says it'll be okay though. With the help from his gadgets though, they find out the metahuman's name is Jake Simmons. At first when he goes to confront him, again, this is his first time fighting a criminal in his suit. Ray gets Zach ass kicked. He gets choked by the guy and like, chokes Ray. Ray flies off real quick before getting killed. And Oliver's like, "You rely on your tech too much. You gotta rely on your instincts." He's like, "What am I taking instincts?" He's like, "Stop joking around. Even though I got my bow and arrow, I'm me. I'm the threat. I'm the one that can take him down, not the bow and arrow. I gotta rely on my instincts. My guts." Where he gets attacked by three large inmates, which one slashes him in the back. He fights with them, but they get stripped by the guards. Lance is warned by the higher power to not make investigation personal, which he's doing. That she says his captain or commissioner or whatever. They want him to back off. Lance tells Thea about Roy being attacked. Based on Thea's complaint, Oliver wants to try and break Roy out of prison. He's like, then you're going to be in jail with him, Oliver. But she reminds him that breaking Roy out won't change that Ra's has done to the Arrow. They'll still, do this. Lance visits Roy in his cell, tells him about the killing the officer. While checking possible powers, Felicity is captured by Simmons. She manages to break away, though. Palmer time to get there and rescues her. The man is skilled at killing the victim and places a beetle blocker on the blade. Everybody thinks Roy is dead, which means Oliver is being the Arrow. So they fake Oliver's death by having not Oliver, I mean Roy's death by getting stabbed, shanked, as you say in prison, I guess, getting shanked. But it was fake the whole time, so that he can leave the city in new identity. Simmons is placed in custody. Starlight. Well, before you see that though, for Oliver, he's trained how to fight, but the tech goes down. But he takes him down on his own and he defeats him. So Cisco, you Carlos Valdez guest stars as Cisco Ramon, putting him in a you know taking him sterilized, putting him in a dark matter prison where to damper his powers. They wonder how it's possible for him to be a metahuman. Rachel appears at Thea's apartment. She's like, you know, he tells her what he's going to do to her. And then he stabs Thea, kills her, so that way it'll leave Oliver to him. You know, the episode ends with Thea dying, getting stabbed by Raish. All right. And my next favorite episode is Broken Arrow. So, The Fallen. Yeah. The episode opens up feeling Thea on the floor. She's like trying to get to her phone. Oliver shows up. Thea. Yeah. Oliver gets her and rushes sister to the hospital, but the doctors are unable to save her as she dies from the injury. She may not regain consciousness soon to consider taking her for life support. So Malcolm arrives at the home and we've set the aside. Didn't care about the flashback, but in this flashback, May, Sue, and Oliver, they watch the general from the bioweapon, what he's going to do with it, selling it. Oh, I mean, arm it. Yeah, whatever. Dickel and Felicity arrive at the hospital and try to confront Oliver. He looks at the window and sees purple smoke. It tells him that they won. Oliver goes to Sue, tells him that if he becomes, he's like, "Why'd you do this?" Punches Sue in the face. He's like, he tells him then, he will say, Ra's will save Theo. If you bring her to Nanabu, we'll put her in the Lazarus pit. But you have to make a promise to become the next Rachel Glenn, and Oliver does this, agrees to it. Felicity asks Palmer if they can use his jet to take Thea to the Nanapoint, and he agrees to do it. Against Malcolm's wishes, though, Oliver, Malcolm, Dougal, and Felicity head for Nanapoint in Palmer's plane. The party arrives at the party at Nanapoint, and Charlie waiting for them. The ceremony begins. They put Thea on a piece of wood or whatever with rope, tying her up to the rope, bring her up, put her in the Lazarus pit. She goes out attacking Oliver. Because when you come out of Lazarus Pit's life, she gets crazy, but she doesn't recognize Oliver. Oliver, Oliver's like, she's like, who are you? She's like, who are you? I don't know you. But she does relax for a while. She does get a member, but come back to life. She just her mind is like, you know, Felicity tells Race that she and her friends are not going to let this happen to Oliver. Race tells her she needs to tell Oliver goodbye. She loves him. Race tells her about her past, which I like that. I wish they would have maybe touched upon that with Ra's al Ghul, you know, about his wife and stuff. I think you could have touched upon his past a little bit. I mean, they did it with Malcolm, but it's like Wilson. The reason I love Slade is more as a villain than Ra's because of his backstory of knowing Oliver. I'm saying Ra's doesn't have no Oliver, but always good to give a villain a backstory sometimes. And Ra's, I felt they could have done that. We could have gotten more story. I don't need to know his childhood and stuff. I just need to know how he became Ra's al Ghul. You know, Felicia tells about Oliver how much good he's done. Eventually, they share a kiss. They fall in love. They start, making love. One Shree's in the flashback though in Hong Kong and 5 years ago, General Shree's men tells them the weapon is on a food court. Felicity and Oliver share a drink. She immediately apologizes. Oliver's like, "Listen, I can't lose you. I won't." She drugs him, but eventually they get, Master tries to help them out by killing three other League assassins. Eventually they get caught. Oliver wants to stand by, telling them that he's here to race and Rachel will return. Thea wakes up the next day and Malcolm explains what happened with her brother and the League. Felicity's to tell her that Oliver will not be returning. Oliver warns Race to leave his close friends alone. Mace relinquishes to helping Oliver and offers Race is alive. Race spares him, because Oliver would need him during the transition process. Oliver makes some tests. They try to fight in the market. They shoot some of the guys down, but the virus goes deadly, and their son Echo, he gets affected by the virus too. As you see him blood coming out of his mouth, he gets really sick too. A ritual to wipe out Oliver Queen's past begins. He's given a large brand on his back. Mom, this is who you are. And he becomes a League of Member assassin. You see Oliver with the black, with assassin suit on, like Malcolm, and the episode ends there. Alright, that's the fall one. Okay, we got about 3 episodes left. Next one is House Sim. How, House Sim. And it takes 3 weeks after all this has happened. Oliver learns that Dick has shown up, tells Oliver that he's been there the entire time. Well, he's training with Rachel Gould in the beginning. He's like, I've been there the entire time trying to help you. And he's like, stabs him, but it's more like a test. It wasn't Dave, but someone else. I guess you can see a test of Rachel's probably testing him, saying that will his mind go back to his friends or whatever. Race takes Oliver to a gravesite and tells him about Damien Dark before telling him that he must kill someone. He says that Damien Dark, who would be the villain in season 4, played by Neil McDonough, I think his name is, sorry. Well, we won't see the Damien Dark character be the main villain until the next season, season 4, but that he knew him, that they were friends, became enemies, you know, after he tried to take, the mount there to the demon for sure from him, from Raish. And Starling, though, the Canary's going after a criminal. This shits us up as like, her, she's training Laura. You should have been, she gets stabbed and he's like, you should have been watching any more close. Then she kicks him out. Then they go from milkshakes just to hang out. And this is thanks Laura for showing her kindness. She's like, you eat a fry. He's like, that's weird. She doesn't want to go back there, of course. So Felicity and Thea over at the Diggle home for dinner. Talk about Dig needing to be right for his identity. Dig asks Thea how she's feeling about Oliver being gone. Felicity says not to blame herself. Felicity's so sad, though. She wants Oliver back. In the past, though, Oliver, Tessa, and Mace will find out that people are trying to get the cure. They shoot them away from it. They blow up the truck. Laura approaches Nessa and apologizes for telling her. Lizzie tells her that she's great concerns. Laura says that friends don't leave. Nessa says that men will go on with a mini man. Laura and Nessa approach Dig and Felicity at Palmer Technologies. Felicity doesn't believe anything that till Laura yells at her for it. Laura puts a tracker on Nyssa. In the past, Oliver and Cole blow up the virus. Tessa, then they go back to brush over the sun. They rush off. Felicity is watching the tracker as Dig and Flora. When Nyssa Diggle doesn't believe it. Thea walks into Palmer Tech, approaching Felicity. She says that Oliver's back in town, but Thea wants to get through to her brother. Nyssa is standing on the rooftop where Sarah was murdered. Oliver shows up and Nyssa asks him questions but doesn't answer. They head to get into a fight. He soon has a kill shot when Laura and Dig show up. Laura uses the canary cry that Cisco made for her. When Dig says he can't let her Nyssa, Oliver rushes off. Nyssa yells at Laura as a result. Dig talks to Felicity while they're upset with what happened. Yep. Oliver returns to meet up with Mesu and Lee. Thea calls Malcolm and they meet up. Malcolm offers to refuse to help her to get going. Felicity is invited to Dig's home. Baby Sarah is crying. Oliver had kidnapped Lila and avoid getting this to Lee. And this pisses off John a lot for kidnapping his wife. Is why he's doing this. Before Lila is brought forward, Felicity spends time trying to reach Oliver, but Nisa knows that he's not used. She's been willing to is let go. Lila gets let go. The team are to shoot off some of the assassins. Nissa and Laura both get knocked down. Oliver and, well, Hal Sim fights with Oliver. John and him fight. Because Felicity wanted to kill him but doesn't. Thea, Laura, and Diggle Felicity head back to the foundry. Laura freaks for Nissa and Felicity is upset due to Oliver being gone now. They vow that Oliver's gone but never forgotten. Oliver returns with Nissa to Nanoport. Grace looks through Nessa's things, so they take it from. Nissa vows to get, not being afraid as Oliver said to kill her. Pharaoh is about to hurt her, but he stops. Gracious then, he's like, "You're going to be his husband?" The family and Oliver rush out through the chaos. They steal a vehicle. Echo is sick, like I said before. Dave looks at a photo of him and Oliver was like, "Can't lose you. I was my friend for 3 years." Kind of look. Laura tries to eat a french fry, but she's alone. Raish tells him to become a demon. He'd destroy his home. Raish gives him the Alpha Omega virus to unleash Oliver to unleash from the city. Or hell sound. But really good episodes there too. Yeah, there are moments where Felicity's yelling. And there's been, well, I can disagree with her, but I can understand her feelings about being in love with Oliver. Yeah. Alright. And wanting to get him back. Alright, just 2 more episodes, guys, and then we're gonna be done. We're almost done here. This is your sword. We go into the past where the kid is sick. Eventually, the kid, Ego, does die. Raish is telling Oliver that he needs to serve for his life by destroying Starling City. Meso gives the Alpha and Omega virus to Raish, admitted that he admits him that he stole. And you find that Oliver's actually still Oliver. That he did all this to get Raish to kill Raish by pretending to be on his side. Yeah. But him and Mason were talking. Mason is a man that's gone because of his son's death. He joined the League of Assassins. Yeah. He has to marry Nissa first. Chase, he gets chasing a criminal, but he gets cornered. So Laura shows up just for scream. They put up a good fight. But Dig is still pissed off that he punches the piece of shit out of a criminal and kills him. Felicity and Laura head back to Dig's home. Felicity doesn't like how Dig is unhinged. You know, kidnapping Lyle and turning on them. Because I mean, she can't go punch him. Well, he has a right to be mad, Felicity. I mean, Oliver, I don't blame him. Oliver kidnapped his wife. Yeah, and this was a man that he trusted for 3 years. Been friends for 3 years. and he kidnaps his wife. So that's really personal enough to make a man angry, if you ask me. You mess with a man's wife, I think you're gonna make him really pissed off. You know, and even the point where Laura's like, "I can't believe you, Felicity." Felicity, the things I don't like about her, she went from being cool to funny to being an overdramatic bitch. You know, to be annoying to always just well, people say this show tries to prove that Oliver's wrong. Well, this show loves to try to prove Felicity is always right. Felicity always has to scream and make a point. And she just becomes obnoxious, thinking, I don't buy her and Oliver in love. It just never really worked for me. You know, if you're going to have them fall in love, you could have done that in later seasons. You know, it's like in Smallville with Clark and Lois. We didn't really see them fall in love for season 8. She came in season 4, but it still felt like it took a good while to get there. You know, just very slowly. You know, and then didn't know Clark's secret to season 10. So it took a good long while for them to fall in love. You see, you take time with things. You don't rush things, writers. Yeah. Apparently, these writers never seen Smallville. Malcolm shows up and finds out Thea is going to see Roy. Malcolm tries to talk her out of it, but she's upset with him, so she doesn't want to listen. Ness and Oliver sit across from each other at the table as Race talks. Race is going to give her this necklace that I'd rather not have any text. She's like, you're going to get married. Daughter, you're going to listen. Your attitude, stop your attitude, Nessa. And Nessa's got a knife. Then she's getting ready to stab Race. Yeah, he talks to Malcolm. Things are worse than they thought, Oliver said. Before they wander up to fill him in, they leave. Malcolm mentions coming out. Mason spots Oliver with the fire alarm and tells him that they're worried about him. They try to get the pharmacy to coordinate Mako, but it isn't working due to him being too young. Thea approaches the place where he's working at Jason. They finally meet. They sleep together again, of course, for a while. And she's like, I came back to give you a suit. But he's like, no, I think you can use a suit. I think you could do it, Speedy. And she does get his suit and become a hero as well, a little later on. As they sit in front of the fire, Oliver learns that Mesa had taken the drug that he took. He confessed that he stole it from a truck in the past, that they have blown up in the past, that he gave it to Raish. Laura, Diggle, and Felicity meet up with Malcolm. He tells them Oliver, they need to make allegiance, even though they're like, go to hell, Malcolm, we don't trust you. So Malcolm brings Tatsu, tells him about her son dying. Then Malcolm gives them other information. They need on the weapon. Roy and Thea end up in Salute. Roy and Thea end up in Sublet. I'm sorry, Sublet. They end up in his apartment. In the foundry, though, they're looking for the information. Felicity's upset about Laura, and John decided to go. Rachel approached the daughter, and she asks him about why he won't want to marry someone that she doesn't love. Tells her about when he met her mother and why she likes it. She still doesn't want to marry Oliver. He then threatens her with a knife. Tatsu approaches Felicity and tells her about Oliver's past. So she speaks through to Felicity finally, not to make her same mistakes. In the past, Oliver and Meso approach the base. Meso tells them they must kill. He does so. In the present, Tatsu opens a cantina in front of Malcolm. Theo shows up. They head to. She's got the white mask on, which is really cool. They show up, and Malcolm senses people. He shoots some arrows, so it becomes a real big fight. You know, John's got a machine gun. Gun. He's shooting some bad guys down. Even Felicity, I do like one moment though where she's got her laptop, or iPad, pod, tap, whatever the fuck you want to call it. She like throws that one of the League of Assassins' throats, and even Malcolm's impressed. Malcolm saves Laura from getting killed, and it's a really good action scene. Tatsu fights her husband. Mesu was gone, and eventually, she comes close to killing him. He comes close to killing her, but she gets up, stabs him, hugs him, was like, "Thank you for giving me peace," and he dies, and she cries. That was kind of a sad moment between the two. Because 12% love now, you won't tell them Forrest both. Oliver and Nessa get married that night. She needs to stab him, but it doesn't work. A man shows up and takes Deke to Oliver. Once they're alone, Oliver learns that he's lost his trust and respect. After the kid Echo dies, Oliver tortures the general really bad. You don't see it, but which they should have shown it. I think that would have been interesting to show. But on the island, or maybe Oliver torturing this general on the island, and Mesa shoots the general in the head, killing him. Thea wakes up and finds that Roy is gone. After getting dressed, she heads to work. That Roy took off a note behind her that he's leaving the suit for her. Malcolm is brought back to the other group and Race drops the virus in the prison. Everyone's freaking out, but not Malcolm. Because it was like, we trust you, Oliver, and it nearly kills them. And nearly die, and Malcolm gets to, Oliver goes with Race to attack the city. Oliver is getting ready for his wedding to Nessa. Dig, Felicity, Laura, Malcolm, Ray say goodbyes and begin to pass out, so begin to pass away. Yeah, also I forgot to mention in this fight, Ray shows up as well. Yeah, but it ends there. Okay, 11, that's time. Alright. Alright, now I'm only going to be on the last episode of season 3, or the final episode of season 3. Team Arrow, they wakes up after being revealed to survive. Apparently, Malcolm had laced them with this cure one by one, and that's why they're not dead. And also, you get a cameo from the Flash from Barry Allen, Grant Gustin guest stars. It's not a crossover; he's just a quick guest starring role as he's dealing with Dr. Wells. But you know, Tessa knew he's coming. He breaks her from her chains. Flash runs in there, and the Flash is like, "Wow, they got a hot tub, cool." He's like, "Guys, I'm gonna save you out of there." And then Flash right there was like, "She's like, hey Barry." He's like, "Way to go, Felicity! Tell me my identity is supervillain." He breaks it down. He's like, "I don't know what Oliver's been doing lately." Well, Oliver did help. Um, or can I barely speak? He did help Barry defeat the Flash. I mean, capture Reverse Flash in season 1 while wearing his black suit attire. That's why he says about his dress code. But whatever going on, you should trust him. And then Barry Flash runs back away. But that was cool to see him though, as he's headed back to deal with Dr. Wells on that show. Oliver speaks to Ra's about him becoming racial ghoul. You know, he's like, eventually you'll take my place and I will call you Raish. But all of a sudden the airplane starts to fail and he starts blaming Nissa. Then Oliver reveals it was him the whole time and they start fighting. There's a bit better time fighting him this time, but Raish gets away. They land the plane safely though, nearly safely. They meet with Team Arrow at the base. Oliver gets punched by Diggle, and I was like, she's gonna, like, oh, calm down. I deserved it. They Oliver quickly apologized to him, but warned him that his plan had never been to betray them, or something, but rather to save them. Once Race had saved Thea, Oliver had made a plan to take down the League of Assassins from the inside by becoming their leader. He told them the former plan to sabotage the plan, destroy the virus, and kill Veit Race. Felicity asked Oliver how to expect to survive such a plan. It's like, well, it didn't work. Felicity discovers that Race's rival, though Damien Dark, he wants to assassinate him. We don't see Damien Dark. We see a man who thinks it's him, but Oliver realizes that, that he can't be in his airsuit without getting killed. So he's in the black complete assassin suit Zari has on. But apparently this man still gets hit. He's like a decoy. Again, we don't see Damien Dark until season 4. So, Darkness appeared to have already left, and his assistant is shot dead with an arrow. I'm assuming by Ra's al Ghul. The League start to release the virus. Rare Felicity working on the cure while the rest of the team include Thea in Roy's Arsenal costume. And she puts on a costume, becomes Speedy. It's a cool moment when she saves Dave from getting killed. Oliver's shot by the police, but is saved by Felicity in Adam's suit. Oh. Oliver fights Ra's. Him and Ra's start sword fighting again. And eventually he's able to defeat Ra's by he stabbed Ra's and does this prayer. And Ra's dies. And it is a cool moment, though. She saves him in the suit, in the Adam suit. Because Ray couldn't get to him, so she wears the suit. And they save the world. They save the Starling City and defeat Raish and the League of Assassins. So Oliver tells the team he's no longer needed in Starling City. That if Felicity would like to leave with him, and she does, so he's like he's going to retire. He's done being the Arrow for good. Oliver gives a goodbye to Dougal, and he says, "I'm sorry what happened. As I understand, if you're still mad at me," and they just depart ways. Malcolm tells Thea that he's going to leave, that she don't release him, but before Oliver leaves, he gives Malcolm the Demon's Head ring. He's like, "We had an agreement." He's like, "I still despise you, though. Still hate you." He never forgive him what he did to Sarah and Thea. On top floor of the Palmer Industries, though, building, Ray Rickers with a fire was next to the city. He presses a button on suit. Then the top of the floor, Palmer explodes. We can see that he's dead, but it's just an accident. Then at the end, Malcolm takes over the League of Assassins with Nessa, but she still vows that she will kill him for what he did to Sarah. He's like, but for now, bow down to Ra's al Ghul. When Malcolm's whole intention here was to be the new Ra's al Ghul, thanks to Oliver, and he does. And they kneel before him. Oliver lets the drive off the sunset. Oliver is just now happy, and then they leave. And that's the end of Arrow season 3 with Oliver and see the picture there. Oliver and Felicity driving in the sunset, just going to live somewhere, live in peace, you could say. And that was the end of season 3 of Arrow. Limiting my limits. Sorry. Okay. Right. Well, that was the end of Arrow season 3. Me and my final thoughts on the season. Get some water. I did enjoy the Arrow season 3. Now, before I get into my problems, I do like the cast somewhat. Stephen Amell is always great. I can never complain about him. Even if you don't like the season of Arrow, you can't admit that he's not great as Oliver Queen. I do like that Laura becomes. I do like her costume and mask. It was cool that they added Ra's al Ghul in here. Um, they came in from the Flash. Like I said, I do like the story. What's going on? I just hate that they kill us. I do like that he's facing assassins. That you think for a second that's Oliver been compromised, or has he lost his mind, become a villain? That was interesting. Him joining the villain side. And I like that they made Ra's al Ghul the villain. I do wish that they gave him a backstory. The actor played him, I thought did a good job. But like I say, I prefer Liam Neeson. But I will say this though, at least yeah, the Lazarus Pit. When you have a character like Ra's al Ghul involved in this show, or even if it's Batman, the anime series, you gotta have the Lazarus Pit because it goes with the character. You know, when you have the Ra's al Ghul, the Demon's Head, you gotta have the Lazarus Pit. You know, there's been Lazarus Pit in many of the Batman media franchises that you've seen Ra's al Ghul in, so you can't really say the show is that realistic because it's not real. Because Green Arrow is a character, is a comic book character. He's not real. Oliver Queen is not a real person. But the show is entertaining. There's a lot of good episodes in here. I just don't like the whole thing with Felicity Smoke and her being together, the love triangle. I hated that they killed off Sarah. You know. And again, I like Quentin being a captain. I understood his anger when you don't tell a man that his daughter died. There's a reason to be angry. You know. And I can understand why John was mad. And then Felicity having to get on him being mad. He has a reason to be mad. Felicity just, they made her so obnoxious, and it gets worse in season 4. From what I heard from her, it gets a lot worse with her. These are the best of the current wave of superheroes, and I would say right now. What makes it a few steps down, though, is some of the stories aren't strong enough as they were in season 2. Season 2 was one were great. I mean, I'm glad they had Rachel going here. I know that in season 4 they go with the magic stuff. So, again, this was a time when you had the Flash come out. So, I guess they threw realistic out the door by this point by Arrow. Yeah, well, they did apparently because every season 4 you do a magic. But again, I like the cast. I like Brandon Routh and he was like Adam. His suit was cool. I didn't like the love triangle. You could not have done that. The Hong Kong scenes. I hate the flashbacks. I want Oliver to be on the island for 5 years. What would you see him in season 4? Again on the island, which I thought was nice. But then in season 5, he's in Russia, and how they ended it with him, coming back to Charlotte. I'll get to that when I get to season 5, which they ruined completely. But the whole thing with Hong Kong, I didn't care about what was going on, except the episode when he has to go back to Charlotte City, get information from Consolidated, and we see some characters and stuff. That was an interesting episode. That did play Tom Merlin coming back. That was pretty good. Carl Young, who plays him, so he's good in here as well. And the one who plays Tattoo from the Wolverine, if you remember the woman that the red-headed woman, and the Wolverine, she's in the season as well. She's great. As Tatsu, her mask was cool. Katrina Law, a beautiful woman, really good in here. Really good season, but the first 2 seasons are much much better in my opinion. And if I would give season 3, my rating for season 3 of Arrow, season 3, my rating for this season, I'm gonna give it 4 to 5 stars. 4 to 5 stars. I think it's fair enough. Now, guys, you'll be seeing this video by the time you see this more. It'll probably be tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon, because I've got something I gotta do tomorrow about a job. So, yeah. So, anyway, guys, let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of Arrow season 3 in your opinion? Do you like it? Do you hate it? I will be uploading these videos tomorrow. So today is November 10th, right? Yes. So hopefully November 11th, tomorrow, you will be seeing the video for this, but I will not be uploading the video today, sadly. I just don't have time. And it's like 9:22 at night. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of Arrow Season 3 in the comments down below. And stay tuned for my thoughts on my favorite episodes of of Arrow Season 4, the 4th season, which is next. Yeah. Oh, John does get the mask. He becomes Spartan. Yeah. They sell Oliver's advice about him wearing a mask. I don't know how I felt about the season. I didn't like Supergirl season 4 or The Flash season 4. I wasn't big fans of those. But stay tuned next, guys. Arrow season 4 will be next. So season 4 will be next. And third season, I'll be uploading the videos tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for 390 subs. Keep on subscribing, guys. Got more videos coming. Let me know what you think of Arrow season 3. Get my rank for this season is 4 to 5 stars. Give it a thumbs up. And stay tuned for the next season of Arrow. I'm talking about my thoughts on favorite episodes of Arrow, season 4. Season 4 coming up next. Thanks for watching, guys.